Okay guys, so as sod's law would have it, I was about to get the car ready to go to the MOT and I noticed I sprung two issues. The first one is that my hydraulic clutch was leaking into the footwell, which was quite annoying. It turns out the reason was because the mount I'd produced wasn't particularly the strongest, and it was allowing this master cylinder to move left and right a little bit, and in turn that made the hard line form a leak due to the movement. Of course, no hard line should ever really move at all, because the flares just give way, and yeah, you end up with a load of hydraulic fluid in your footwell, so that's not good. So I'm going to redesign the bracket. So here is a different cylinder. This is a kit from Car Builder Solutions. Its part number is MAK625, and it's a brake and master cylinder kit. They do different sizes, but this is the right size for mine, the 625 one. In the kit you get two different reservoirs, you get a load of low pressure hose line, a bunch of adapters, basically an mounting thing and everything. You get the whole, everything you need, I believe, to make yourself a little hydraulic clutch setup. It's really good quality as well. It comes with data sheets, the whole lot. And it's not expensive. I think at the minute it cost me 50 quid, which is, I think, really fair. The benefit of this is you can mount it like this and like this as well. You can mount it with these two mounting holes, whereas the other one you didn't have that. So you had to create like an L bracket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use this one instead. It's the same size. It's a slightly different master cylinder design with like a bleed nipple and stuff, but it shouldn't be a problem. Either of these can be high pressure output. I'm going to elect for the back one and then build a bend around like a little bit of hard line into the firewall or bulkhead. And this is the low pressure feed. You can take this off and fit the reservoir straight on it too, if that suits you. But anyway, so the idea here is, this is your standard pedal box. The clutch cable usually attaches here. Of course, I'm going for a hydraulic system, so I've gone for a little rose joint on the end here. I think that's what it's called. And you can adjust how far this is on. If this isn't long enough, you can get a connector and keep adding like straight bar to it or whatever. But basically, the cylinder's going to mount around about here, and I've got a little piece of it's actually a cut up old brake mounting caliper mounting bracket, but it's the right sort of size. It's a bit too big actually, but the hole's already in there, which is the perfect size for this bolt here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically weld this onto here, which is going to create a nice high point right where I need it for this rose joint to connect. So I'm going to sort of position it right about there, stick a weld down the side, a weld down the other side, and a splodge on either side of here, and that should be strong enough to hold and to handle the clutch, fingers crossed. So I'm going to whip this this clutch pedal off now, the clutch pedal arm, with this little grip clip. Pull that off. I'm going to move it to my workbench, grind back a nice surface, weld this bad boy on here, and then just cover it in some paint it or something so it doesn't rust and stuff, and then paint it black. So, right, that's my next task. The other leak was with the power steering rack. So what happened here was, I went to fill the system up, because if you've got power steering on your car, for the MOT, it has to work. And in my case, it didn't. It just didn't work at all. So I filled it with fluid, bled it off, by having the wheel off the ground like it is now. Took it from lock to lock about 10 or 20 times to bleed the system up. I could tell there was fluid everywhere. Every single time I took a connection off, there was fluid coming out. So there's fluid everywhere in the rack, but it didn't work. Engine running, variable revs, nothing. So I'm starting to think maybe it's the pump. I mean, maybe the relief valve in the pump stuck during the couple of years it was stored in my shed. Or it could be the rack. Who knows? Maybe there's a relief valve in there that's stuck open or something. It's kind of annoying because I don't really want these issues right now, but I'm going to probably spend the money, send the rack off to be reconditioned, and get a new pump. I mean, if I'm doing it, I may as well be fitting new parts as and when I can. So, yeah, because nothing's stopping us going down the road and then popping after, 50 miles, and then it's going to be frustrating. So I think the best thing to do is take the rack to get reconditioned, buy myself a new pump, or in fact, send both to be reconditioned in the same place to do that. And then, yeah, fit the whole new system, and then we should not have any further problems. I'm going to get new lines made as well. I'm just trying to fit everything else in the car is pretty much new, so I might as well make that new too. Here's the finished article. So basically what I did here was I used the mounting points, as you can see over here. They're just on there, a little bit of Loctite to make sure nothing comes loose. Positioned like this. Luckily there's enough clearance here for this bit here. It doesn't actually attach to anything in the car, which is great. The angle is pretty decent, and the action's good as well. Nothing too bad. The only problem with this is this. It means you lose your vent, your driver's side air vent, because the tube for the air vent goes through here. So luckily I don't really drive my car in winter at all, and it only blows cold air anyway. It's only really good for demisting. So that's okay. If you had a car though where you really wanted that to be used for something, then you'd have to think a different way of mounting this. And I'm going to now put the thing back in the car and start running all these hoses. Okay, so it's been a little bit of a gap between the last video and this one. The good news is I have had the pump and the rack refurbished. I wasn't sure which one was at fault, so I decided I'll get both refurbished. And I've completed it with, you probably actually can't see under here. It's been replaced with some brand new low pressure and high pressure lines. These are made out of AN fittings. Look rather nice. You can probably just see it there. So we'll hop under here and have a look. You see there is the clutch. The line here could be a bit cleaner, to be honest. It's not the best job, I'll admit. But it seems to work absolutely fine. See all that hanging in there? Nice and solid. And you can just kind of see it goes through a rubber grommet over here. And yeah, that's the clutch. So, two hydraulic things, clutch and power steering. Now I've just got to cross all my fingers and hope she gets to the MOT. Just got to bleed it a little bit more because it's while I can drive it, there's very little travel at the end. Just give me like just enough to get it in and out of gear. So obviously because there must be air in there and it's spongy, not going the full length to actually release the clutch. So I got to sort that. Okay guys, well the bad news is I was very nearly rolling up the street. I bled the clutch, got a really good firm pedal, everything else. Thought yes, it's firming up real nice, and then disaster struck. So I went to grab the pedal, and it just completely went on me. Went completely soft. I thought great, more air, and then I heard it. In fact, you might be able to hear it now. That hissing noise is hydraulic fluid coming out of the slave and dripping out of my bell housing onto my garage floor. So what's happened here is, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it. I'll show you the damage. Ah, there, yeah, it's dripping. Yeah, there we go. That's hydraulic fluid from the clutch, and it's leaking from the seal on the concentric slave. So what's happened is, here's the input shaft here, and there's a a release bearing that goes on it, and thrust bearing, whatever you want to call it. And basically it's travelled past its point and blown its seal. This is my fault. I should have measured to make sure that, you know, that it wasn't overthrowing itself, and it was. I should have installed a pedal stop to stop that behaviour from happening. So it's got a lot of pressure and it's travelled far too far, and now the gearbox has to come out yet again. So I can call the MOT place up now and tell them I won't be making it tomorrow. I didn't even get 2 feet out of the garage with my lovely new power steering, I must add, that works fantastic. I've never had the Capri with power steering before, and now I do. So that's a plus, I suppose, but we've had a massive knockback now with the gearbox. So it's definitely beer time now. So here I am once more with this gearbox. So before I show you my new solution, I'm going to show you exactly what happened. So as you saw in the video, I had a bit of pedal pressure and then obviously it just went. So what happened was, once I got pressure, I actually had too much pressure and the pedal went too far and allowed this piston to blow past its O-ring here. So this should only really nest in and come about this far out maximum, but it came all the way out. I lost pressure. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened, which really sucks. But yeah, so this solution is, do you know what? In favor of this, and this is a kit you can buy online from Rear Wheel Drive Motorsport, or it's RWD Motorsport, I believe .co.uk, all one word, and they sell you the full kit. And this works, or should work perfectly well with a 0.625 master cylinder for your clutch. It also comes with shims as well, so it should underthrow, and I add the additional shims to allow it to, you know, have a little bit more throw there. So yes, it's one nice kit, and it actually, this blue piece here, the nice anodized blue aluminium, should replace this butchered nose cone I've got. So yeah, the Saab 9000 hubs, concentric slave, sorry, can't get my words out today, is going in the bin in favour of this complete nose cone replacement. Okay guys, here's the finished article. This took a little bit longer than expected. There's a couple of little issues I had in terms of getting it orientated and doing the pipe work. So the first one is, this one's nice and simple. So this is the high pressure line, the in to the slave. You can see it runs up here, out the top, and then to this right here. That's fine. The problem was that the bleed is an M8 by 1 mil bleed, and it was attached here. However, there's no way of me getting to that. I mean, I could have taken a bigger chunk out of here, but to get a spanner to here would have been a nightmare. Originally I was going to reorientate this slave here to be pointing down this way, or this way, so I could get access through the vent holes. But the problem with that was that obviously the bleed is then low down, and all it's going to do is bring air into the system, and I'll never be able to bleed it properly. So what I've done is I've gone so M8 by 1 mil adapter here to AN-3, or AN3 I should say, and then an AN3 hose up out the back through here to a AN3 to M10 by 1 mil I believe adapter, and then into this female to female bulkhead adapter and to a bleed. Now you see there's 2 bleeds in here. That's just because what I've actually done is I've actually bench bleeded the system. And the way I did that was I used this very Austin Powers looking tool. It's a big syringe, and actually you fill it with hydraulic fluid, and you can actually push it through the bleed. So now comes the task of getting the box back in. So when the exhaust back on,
and are back on the floor, and let's hope this time round we have a no disaster.